It was Snow White at the box office versus Wicked on streaming this past weekend, and it appears that Wicked was victorious. Welcome to the Box Office Revival. I'm Brandon Gray, creator of Box Office Mojo, coming at you with the breaking news of how Wicked performed in its Peacock debut, as well as final first week box office numbers for Disney's Snow White. Now, it can't be a coincidence that Wicked debuted on Peacock on the same day that Snow White debuted in theaters. After all, Disney and Universal, the studio behind Wicked, are rivals. And Wicked is a fantasy musical aimed squarely at the same audience as Snow White. And well, based on the numbers in this story from Deadline, Wicked gave potential moviegoers a good reason to stay home. Well, many would say the mere existence of Snow White was good enough reason to stay home, but I digress. Let's dive in here. So they're saying that Wicked clocked in with 882 million minutes viewed, according to Nielsen in their preliminary streaming chart for the week of March 17th to 23rd. So effectively for 3 days of this chart, Wicked did 882 million minutes, which made it not only the number one movie on streaming that week, but also Peacock's biggest pay one debut ever. Okay. I think it's topping, it goes on to say it topped Oppenheimer, which was their last big debut back in February of 2024. So, what does this 882 million minutes of watch time mean in terms of viewership, as in the number of eyeballs that were on Wicked this past weekend? Well, actually, this is the methodology that most streamers use, including Netflix, to determine what their estimated viewership is. They take the amount of time the show or movie was watched, and then they divide that by the runtime. So in this case, the runtime for Wicked is 160 minutes, which equals 5.5 million viewers over the weekend for Wicked on Peacock. And keep in mind, Peacock is one of the least popular streaming services. But last I checked was roughly, 36 million subscribers. And this is the domestic number here. This is just domestically alone on the Peacock debut. I just want to bear that in mind. So we are talking about apples to apples comparison when I show you the Snow White number for the domestic box office. Now, Snow White did about 42.2 million in its opening weekend plus Thursday previews. Actually had a little bit more time than Wicked had here, but I digress. That roughly $42 million equated to 3.1 million tickets sold. So there you have it. Wicked was far more popular than Snow White on the opening weekend. Because remember, this 5.5 million figure, that's just assuming single individuals watching. I mean, there could have been families watching, couples watching. So we don't know. That's just the bare minimum, 5.5 million as the estimate for Wicked's viewership. Now, of course, to be fair and to be just here, as Snow White herself would be, right? A point of sale purchase, like at the box office, is far more valuable than a stream on a streaming service. Because, I mean, think about it. I mean, you're not paying anything extra. You're not going out of your way and plunking down your money specifically for that show or movie when you stream something. Whereas when you go to the theater, go to the box office, you are plunking down your hard-earned cash to see whatever movie. In this case, 3.1 million people chose to see Snow White. Chose to pay to see it with roughly average ticket prices of about $14. I mean, that could buy you, like, how many months of Peacock with that? I don't know. But anyway, so just bear that in mind. I'm just trying to show that Wicked not only was the bigger winner originally at the box office, but now is also kicking butt on streaming. And it's even more impressive when you consider that Peacock is not exactly the most popular streamer. I mean, roughly, 36 million subscribers? Nothing to slouch at, but we're not talking Netflix here. And as a little refresher, let's check out how Wicked did at the box office. Check that out. $473 million domestically alone. Didn't quite fare as well internationally, but worldwide the total was still $744 million, making Wicked the fifth highest grossing movie from 2024. And if you scroll over here, check this out. This is actually the domestic opening for Wicked, $112.5 million last November. So this is a Thursday through Sunday number. As I said earlier, Snow White's Thursday through Sunday opening was $42.2 million. And the way Snow White is playing right now, it may not even hit the debut number of Wicked in its entire run. Let me rephrase that. The lifetime tally of Snow White is likely to come in under the opening weekend number for Wicked. Let's check out those Thursday box office numbers to show you what I'm talking about. So on Thursday, Snow White did $1.8 million, bringing its opening week tally to just $52.6 million. And it was still number one. Yes, even with all the movies opening on Thursday night, including A Working Man, which did about 1.1 million. These movies really should be listed on this chart. Working Man, like I said, 1.1 million. You had The Woman in the Yard with 870,000, Death of a Unicorn with 700,000. There was an Indian picture called L2 that did 940,000. And of course, Princess Mononoke was number 2. And what they don't tell you on this chart, they really should, it was playing at 330 theaters, IMAX exclusive, I believe, but pretty darn good for a movie from the late 90s, re-released. Also, because of all these new movies entering the market on Thursday, Captain America actually was number 7 for the day. Just wanted to correct that record. Could not resist. But back to Snow White. Snow White has been tracking remarkably similar to Dumbo from 2019. During the week, that is. Here on the left, we got Snow White's dailies, and then on the right, we've got Dumbo's dailies. And I want to draw your attention to the changes from day to day, because that's where we see similar patterns here. So you'll see that on Tuesday, both pictures were up around 60%. Then on Wednesday, they were both, again, high 40% drop off. And then Thursday, look at this, nearly identical. If you average those out, that's 13% drop off on Thursday. Dumbo dove 60% to $18.2 million in its second weekend for a running tally of $76.3 million. Now, if Snow White continues to mirror Dumbo, well, it would also fall around 60%, which would mean less than $16 million in its second weekend, with a running tally of less than $69 million. Now, Dumbo is an apt comparison because, like Snow White, it's a live-action adaptation of an old-timey Disney animation, and it released around spring break. The difference is that movie ticket prices are at least 20% higher now than they were for Dumbo back in 2019. Yes, 20% higher. And that means Snow White's attendance is running roughly 25% lower than Dumbo. And please note that Dumbo was considered a major box office disappointment at the time. Dumbo ended its run with $115 million, by the way, which would be the equivalent of at least $140 million, adjusted for ticket price inflation. And if Snow White stays on pace with Dumbo, it would end its run with less than $105 million. Quite the rotten result for what was Disney's most iconic princess, don't you think? Would love to read your thoughts in the comments. I mean, do you think Wicked poisoned Snow White's debut? Do you think Snow White will even make it past $100 million? And if you're looking for the objective perspective on the movies and the box office, well, you came to the right place, friend. Please like this video and subscribe to the Box Office Revival. Thank you for watching.